going to go ahead and put a spoiler warning here. I cover the entire game in this video. It's like 15 minutes long, so do with that what you will.
Time is 5 and 40 past 11. I've received another artifact from my old friend, Professor Ortbay. He writes again about how he misses working with me out in the field, and his remorse about the accident. I immediately felt a chill down my spine and was once again back in the cave, trapped and hopeless. I compose myself. I need to focus on my work. Time to start the examination.
We then get some information on the subject, artifact number 297, a clay statue found at a Kurgan burial mound in the Ural Mountains, with its age and purpose still yet to be uncovered. That is when we are greeted to... We see the clay idol sat before us, a humanoid figure eroded by time. On the desk, we have an array of tools: a compass, candle, a matchbox, a magnifying glass, a pile of textbooks, and a pen and paper. We begin to examine the effigy closer, studying over every crack and crevice. From this, we make two discoveries: a series of unfamiliar runes etched into its side, and a metal object embedded into its back. We turn to our textbooks as we begin to decipher the inscription, where we discover that these are Rovas runes, an ancient Hungarian writing system. The text tells us that these runes are read from right to left, and after deciphering the engraving, we are left with the translation. Erdung. We dive deeper into our research and find a match within. Erdung is a shape-shifting creature from early Hungarian paganism. It was believed that Erdung ruled over the lower world and helped God in creating the earth. However, after the Christianization of the region, Erdung was then associated with the devil. We'll take note of that. The text says that one of the earliest depictions of Erdung was recorded on the Ugra tablet, recovered from these same mountains as our clay totem. We dive deeper. The Ugra tablet depicts a Hungarian legend of a star falling to the earth, from which the 7 children of Erdung crawled out of. Despite this, only 6 of them are depicted on the tablet, but some hypothesize that the 7th child could be the Hungarian folklore creature, Mamush. Another clue. The book details that Mamush is an invisible entity associated with darkness with the intent of scaring children. No depiction of Mamush's visage exists, which some assume is due to the fact that Mamush embodies the fear of those who witness him, almost like a shapeshifter. Curious. We look up from our research to see. We witness the clay fetish, now oozing a thick black liquid from its orifices. As we begin to examine the idol once again, it seems that this dark fluid has loosened the metal object lodged into its back. We dislocate the object, discovering it to be a nail. That's when... Quickly, we rush to our matchbox, striking one and lighting the candle. And as we turn the idol around... Unnerved, we grab the candle and begin to investigate our office. We try the door, but our curiosity gets the better of us. We need to investigate. We take a look around, seeing countless maps, artifacts, and textbooks that litter our study. As we continue to creep through our sanctum, we begin to hear faint breathing. And as we inch closer to the source, we discover
I stumble into the darkness, trying to find my way towards the door and away from that wretched thing. I reach out with my hand to find something.
Trapped in an inky darkness, we begin to feel our way around, attempting to find any way out before we find ourselves with walls on every side. We then see an excerpt from a newspaper article.
Just a few months ago, after the disappearance of the esteemed archaeologist and the incident involving a broken artifact, the team working on the remote site in the Earls has made an astonishing discovery. A previously unknown underground chamber containing a dozen similar small clay figures has been discovered. They are already in contact with several universities across the globe to further study them.
And that was The Children of Clay, an atmospheric point-and-click horror game that kept me enticed from start to finish. Watching the trailer for this, there were a lot of aspects that convinced me to play it, and thankfully they all delivered. I also bought the DLC for the game, which is just a behind-the-scenes booklet of the game's creation, but it actually gave me some valuable insight on The Children of Clay. The biggest aspect that caught my eye was the visual design. The game's description states that the game is stop-motion animated, which I think looks really good. The DLC reaffirmed this, as while some of the game is digitally designed, a majority of the visuals are real photography, with the creator hand sculpting the artifact and the office being a bunch of images mashed together to create the setting. This style makes the game feel more real. It makes the horror feel more intimidating than just some 3D model. I also really enjoyed the research mechanic. At its core, it's essentially a puzzle game, but diving through textbooks to research and cross-reference information made it feel like I was unraveling the mystery myself. I didn't even find all the textbook entries in my first playthrough. There's even more information that pieces the puzzle together better, but you'll have to play it yourself if you really want to know. I think this is a really cool mechanic, and I kind of want to find other games that do something in the same vein. If you know of any, let me know down below. I would love to play something similar to this. The concept of the game also really appealed to me. Little known fact, I'm actually really into archaeology, anthropology, and world history, enough that at one point I wanted to go to college for cultural anthropology until I realized most places want you to have a PhD, and I don't feel like going to college for a decade to make like 50 grand a year. With that said, a story about an archaeologist receiving an ancient cursed artifact and uncovering the lore behind it was immediately up my alley, and the game executed it flawlessly. Many parts of the lore are based in real Hungarian mythology, which is really cool. Using actual folklore as the basis for a horror game leans into that realism that the visual design complements. To add to the atmosphere, this game doesn't rely on cheap horror tactics like many other horror games do. There are jump scares, but pretty much every single one of them are telegraphed beforehand. Things begin to go awry before they happen, so it's a bit obvious when one is about to happen. The horror of the game really lies in the tension of the situation. The entire investigation, you have this creepy artifact staring you down, and as you dig deeper into your research, you begin to realize that you're dealing with things beyond your capabilities. This slowly swells the tension as you go along, and once things start really hitting the fan, that tension morphs into earned fear. The way the game handles this cosmic horror you've stumbled across is done amazingly. The music is simple, just a consistent droning ambient track, but it ties off the mysterious atmosphere of the investigation very well. Surprisingly, this was made for a game jam, meaning that the game was made in maybe a week, probably less. Ignoring the length of the game, it's only about 15 minutes long, it's shocking how much atmosphere oozes from it. The game creates a realistic setting with very real tension, and it makes for a very intriguing experience. I basically covered the entire game in this video, but I do recommend playing the game yourself. It's 15 minutes long, it's free to play, and I feel like you'd be doing an injustice just by watching this video. The game is really cool, and I'd be very excited if the developer makes something similar in the future. Hopefully a little longer though. Speaking of the developer, if they happen to be watching, hi, your game is fantastic. If you ever happen to make merch, please release a figurine of the child. I would absolutely love to have a freaky little statue of this thing, and honestly, I'd probably buy a couple of them, because what's a better gift to the homies than an ancient cursed Hungarian idol? I'm sure they'll be thrilled about the gift. With all that being said, The Children of Clay is a fantastic experience, hands down, delivering real fear and tension through the slow escalation of your investigation. And if you've managed to make it this far into the video, this is the first episode of Demo Disc, a series where I'll be covering shorter, interesting games that may not have enough content for me to make a full-length video on, or I don't have much of an opinion on the game rather than, it's good. I like it fine enough. Children of Clay definitely falls into the former category, since I didn't want to stretch this video out longer than it would take to just play the game yourself. These are going to be shorter videos to fill the gaps between my longer, more in-depth reviews, and I hope you liked this one. Let me know if there's any other games that you'd like to see me talk about in this series, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like these. I'm currently working on another longer review, but unfortunately I'm kind of bad at video games apparently, because this game has been kicking my ass, and I stretched an 11-hour playthrough into a 22-hour playthrough, but I did finally beat it, so stay tuned for that. I also want to give a quick shout out to Owen, my first ever Patreon subscriber. It genuinely means so much to me to see that people want to support both me and my channel, so for that I will say thank you. And if you want your name in these videos just like Owen, then you can go check out my Patreon at patreon.com/Eithan. You can have your name in these videos, there's an exclusive Discord server, and you can get early access to these videos days before they're published on YouTube. So, if any of that sounds interesting to you, you can go check out the Patreon at the link in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.